So Crown Jewel 2025 is officially in the books when it comes to WWE. This video is probably going to be up at a strange time because listen, as much as I love the Australian time zone, because I got to watch Crown Jewel at 1 p.m. UK time, I also had a wrestling show this evening, so I now have returned. It's very late at night and I have to keep my voice down just a little bit, but that's the beauty of being a YouTube content creator and also a professional wrestler. Also BDE is going to be in TNA this weekend. Massive respect to that guy. I think it couldn't happen to a cooler dude who's been working his ass off. But all I'm saying is if somebody wants to put me and Chris Danger and him in the same ring, this man is game. Don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get on with the show. Now we are going to start with AJ Styles versus John Cena, but I also did want to shout out Clash of the Comics. There'll be an image on the screen right now. I got to perform at the Hammersmith Apollo on Wednesday in front of 3,500 people, which is totally mad, with a bunch of very famous UK comics who were on one side of the wrestling opposition, and then we were on the other end, and we did a bit of tag teaming as well. But the point is this, UK and Ireland, we will have some very exciting news very soon. The thing is out there actually, you'll be able to watch this next month on Dave, which is a TV channel, so you can see me in all my glory, or de-glory, which is not a word. But if you are in the rest of the world, you can go to clashofthecomics.live now for the next 3 or 4 days, and you can watch it live. And I can tell you this, it is genuinely one of the best things I've ever been a part of, so I'm just throwing it out there. Now, I am actually going to talk about Cena versus Styles. It may have been the best match of the year, right? Now, nobody else could have done this. If you had taken 2 other WWE superstars or even AEW wrestlers and said you're just going to spam finishing moves, I have no idea what the reaction was going to be. But because we only have a few days left with John Cena, and because AJ Styles is one of the best of all time, and we're never going to get this match again either, I thought it was wonderful. That's what I put out there when I was doing my social media ring. It was so wonderful, they should make a movie about it and put on a Hallmark card. But it made me laugh out loud 3 times in a good, positive way. Like, isn't this fun? Isn't this just a joy? Doesn't this remind you why wrestling is so good to begin with? And it actually ran the gambit of emotions. You're allowed to get mad at me now and start screaming at the television set or your YouTube watching device, but I'm not going to remember them all because I'm an idiot. But the Bray Wyatt one especially, when John Cena hit Sister Abigail and everybody sort of lit their phones up and John Cena saw this and you saw it in his face, is a moment that I think we should all enjoy for a very, very long time. At the same time, across the ring, you had AJ Styles in old TNA ring gear, and he was shouting out Frankie Kazarian, he was shouting out Samoa Joe, he was shouting out Christopher Daniels, he was shouting out Sting. Then you had John Cena doing skull-crushing finales. He became Randy Orton, and this is why I'm going to officially insert it into the Goofy Wrestling for Life category, which I also put out there on their Twitter. It's one thing doing the draping DDT and doing the funniest arc I've ever seen in my life and going for the punt, which he missed. But he became Randy Orton, which is the best thing ever. Again, wrestling is meant to be silly entertainment, and that's exactly what it was. And there was another one that got me as well. I can't even remember what it was, but there was, all in all, there must have been about 26 different shout-outs to different people. It ended with a flipping tombstone that went right into the third AA, I think it was. I will admit, there's a problem with finishing moves in all wrestling, really, but we'll focus on WWE here because they both hit a Styles Clash and an AA. I didn't believe it at all. I think that's something that needs to be addressed. But when something is this glorious, I'm not going to get mad about it. And also, because John Cena hit a chokeslam, which I've never seen, given that he hit the tombstone at the end of the match, maybe the chokeslam was an homage to the Big Show, which arguably John Cena had more feuds with anyway. But it was just tremendous. And the first AA came quite quickly, which I was surprised by. But this is why Cena is one of the GOATs for sure. I'm sure AJ Styles had input too. It's because they knew what, well, not even the back end, the middle and back end was going to be, which was you do a finisher to one of my friends and I'll do a finisher to one of your friends. That wasn't the right way round. You should go out of your way to see this. And not everyone's going to like it because it may not be your cup of tea. But if it doesn't even put a smile on your face and remind you what wrestling can be, well, I would just be a little bit surprised. And AJ Styles got his big intro, which I don't think he was ready for because John Cena passed it to the ring announcer. And they mentioned the Bullet Club. They mentioned him being a total non-stop action guy. There were so many insider references here, and he seemed genuinely taken aback by that. And let's not forget, he did announce during that pre-show that he is going to retire in 2026. You need John Cena in that 2002 period onwards, and you need AJ Styles in that 2002 period onwards. I know that TNA was a different beast back then, but TNA would not be around right now, I don't think, without AJ Styles. And WWE may not be the beast it was without John Cena, because he was there through some, not lean times, but a time when business was obviously dropping because of the Attitude Era, and there was one mammoth guy who was kicking it all up, and it was John Cena. But I think it could become my match of the year, to be completely honest, because work great isn't always about the work you do in the ring. It's about, what do you bring into the selling? What do you bring into the bumping? What do you bring into the connection with the crowd? What do you bring into ring psychology? This ruled. And that Bray Wyatt moment especially is something that will live for me for a while. I think we're all affected by that tragedy in our own way. But just to see that and to see John Cena's reaction, I'm not sure if he's ever talked about it or not. I'm sure he has. That just hit me in a certain way. And then I was laughing a few minutes later when again John Cena was going to do a punt kick. AJ Styles also hit the 450 springboard. I don't know whether he actually hurt John Cena's knee or not, but man, he sold that. And of course, that's when AJ Styles went into the Sweet Chin Music and started warming up the band, which he did hit, which was also to an homage to a match that we always wanted, which was AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels. AJ Styles has gone on record and said he bugged Shawn Michaels basically every day for like a year, going, I think you should face me. 5 stars, 6.25 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Golden up. Make sure you check my review over on What Culture 2. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Already done that one. There's nothing, absolutely nothing they could have done here to improve on this for me and where I was in my life and something that I needed. Again, the finisher thing is an issue, but I'll throw it to one side for here. Go and watch it if you haven't seen it today. Even if you hate it, I just think within your wrestling lexicon, you need to have this in your brain. It's truly, truly tremendous. Otherwise, before I forget, I will say I can't stand that we have extra ads now in WWE PLEs. That weird thing on Netflix where it goes dun dun dun. We'll be right back has now been inserted. I presume which has something to do with the ESPN app. So I hope the WWE gets rid of that. But we'll talk about the opening match, which was Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. And this was really sort of set the tone for what I thought was a fantastic show. We'll use the term B event because people like to do that. And I understand that you're going to expect more from a WrestleMania and you're going to expect less from a Crown Jewel because we do grade these things on a curve. But Bronson Reed beating Roman Reigns, I know there were shenanigans here. I know Bron Breakker turned up, and I know that Jey Uso accidentally speared Roman Reigns to a table, which I thought was a wonderful story beat, especially because after this, you can check this out on social media right now, Roman Reigns is like, this only works when we win. This is why I'm telling you not to get involved. You don't listen to me. He made the cameraman laugh when he said, I don't want to see you again till Christmas, so Thanksgiving is off the table. Jey Uso also kind of threw a hissy fit after this to Jimmy Uso, being like, why is it all about him? I'm out too. And he left, so it was like a re-breaking of the bloodline. But Bronson really getting a win over Roman Reigns in any fashion is absolutely crazy, and bravo for WWE to doing it, because not only did it make the Roman Reigns character more interesting, not only did it make the relationship between the Usos and our tribal chief more interesting too, but Bronson Reed now is, you can argue, he's above Bron Breakker in terms of the people that he's beaten. I think this decade, so 2020, 2 people have cleanly pinned Roman Reigns, the other being Cody Rhodes. I mean, this wasn't clean, or had a visual pinfall over him. Seriously, man, I'm just going to repeat myself. Bravo for WWE for doing it. Bravo for Roman Reigns to getting it. Bravo to tying it into a story and direction it can go in. Bravo to Paul Heyman for selling it like it was a big deal. We have to carry on this. Jump off on this, even if it's Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed winning the tag team titles. I understand that's not like a grandiose thing at the moment, but anything where they can go, yeah, we did this and now we're the boys. And let's not forget they didn't get involved in the main event either, so they're kind of standing on their own 2 feet here. Seth Rollins didn't have to help them. I just thought this was wonderful. Like, this is the kind of stuff you should do. Roman Reigns is on the back end of his career, or at least closer to the end of his career than he is at the start. And if you believe in somebody, put them over. Even if the Bronson Reed experiment doesn't work, you have to try. And right now, it's the opposite. Bronson Reed has all the potential in the world. Why just try and make Bron Breakker? Make Bronson Reed too. Because that's what people are saying, Bron Breakker is the project here. It's like, why are we just ignoring Bronson? He's right there being awesome, being a badass with an awesome finishing move that people can buy into. Light a fire under both their asses, because eventually Roman will be gone, CM Punk will be gone, Cody Rhodes will be gone, LA Knight will be gone, Jey Uso will be gone. You have to have guys on the come up, so it could be a Bron Breakker, it could be a Bronson Reed, it can be a Javon Evans, it can be whoever, man. Leon Slater, he could jump across from TNA and do WWE work someday. So this was brave, this was bold. It doesn't matter if it fails, for lack of a better term, that's totally fine. And yes, you had that Jey Uso thing as well. He goes to spear Bronson Reed or Bron Breakker, whoever it was, crashes through the table with Roman Reigns. So, we've made sure we protected Roman, which you should do. He's your typically top star, or at least one of them. And he got mad at them afterwards. What happens on Raw? What kind of relationship do they have? Who is going to turn heel? Jimmy Uso. He's basically in the corner just having a breakdown like, I'm trying so damn hard. So it was just interesting, and it was intriguing, and it did we live in a different world, right? Usually you would get the big story beat at the pay-per-view and you'd want to watch Raw because of that. Well, that's not necessarily true. But the point is this, it made me want to watch Raw. And any show that WWE is throwing out there right now, I think should have that catalyst to it. And also, you're paying a lot of money if you're watching on ESPN. So, maybe you want to go to nordvpn.com/Simon Miller and use their deal. I'm just saying, go watch on Netflix. What do I know? But you can't, in many ways, treat them like maybe we did on Peacock when it was a lower subscription fee. These things have to feel weighty, and this felt really weighty, especially because, we took a risk, we can use that word, or at least we had a surprise victor in Bronson Reed. He's also now remains undefeated in Australian street fights, so that's actually a true statement now. It was definitely made up before, and otherwise it was your usual, again, table spots and chairs and kendo sticks. Roman Reigns had a cricket bat because we were in Australia. It's so ridiculous. Why? Well, we're in Australia, mate. They play cricket, so there should be a cricket bat. Why aren't there scones and tea when they come to the UK? I shouldn't have said that. There absolutely will be. And I think they've done that too. But it's just a great way to start a show like Crown Jewel because it almost set out your stall. This is what we're doing. We're going big. There's no mucking around. And by the end of it, you're going to have a lot to talk about. And that was true. So this was fire as well. So that is two matches that I massively enjoyed and because it felt different. Now, that AJ Styles John Cena thing was like nothing I've ever seen on WWE TV. It felt like a PWG match. Well, not PWG, but like a stupid indie match. But I say stupid in a positive way. And at the start, we actually made a star by beating Roman Reigns. Flubbing love it. And then really with the other three matches, it was just sort of super good wrestling. And maybe not super good. I don't know. It depends how you look at it. Like Tiffany Stratton versus Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer won, so she's now the Crown Jewel champion. Like big whoop. It's good because WWE sold it as, oh man, she's on the come up after being called up to the main roster and winning the Raw Women's Championship. I disagree strongly with the people that said, oh, they should have gone a few minutes longer. This worked because WWE found the perfect amount of time and they found the perfect amount of back and forth, if you want to use that word, for it to click in the way that it did. I think arguably it's Tiffany Stratton's best match on the main roster. I think Stephanie Vaquer's stock right now is higher than ever. She's one of these people that can work with anyone. I kind of hope it's going to be Asuka versus Stephanie Vaquer, although it's probably not going to be, because I think, good grief, with that level of babyface and that level of heel, it could be absolute fire. But there's not even much I can tell you about it. It was just a really, really, really well-worked wrestling match that had a very specific winner and a very specific loser. Like Tiffany Stratton goes for the PME. She mistimes her jump, you can argue from a kayfabe point of view. Stephanie Vaquer hits that incredible flippy-dippy-doo-dah thing she does, the big splash, and she gets the 1, 2, 3. Tiffany doesn't feel like a lesser champion. She should use that going on in her story. Beats the first time she's beaten 2025. And on the flip side, Stephanie should be like, yeah, I'm the flipping best. I'm on the main roster. I'm clearly good. I'm getting all these belts. Who's going to step up and challenge me now? I thought WWE, I love Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary, especially Wade Barrett. I think he's tremendous. They pushed too hard. This idea that Stephanie was meant to be this new wrestler. At one point, they said words to the effect of, well, it's impossible to study tape. She's been in the company since July 2024, and she's been wrestling since 2010. But it's another reason why I love wrestling. It's so stupid. If you want to make up a narrative, you can, and you can just sell it. But maybe we just lent into that a little bit too hard. Not that it makes any difference. It's just a thought I had, and this is a platform to share my thoughts. It's another reason why this pay-per-view was strong. I think we had one run-in, which was in the first match, right? There wasn't any runs in the other match, especially not the final match. And that's great. So the dick counter, the distractions, interference, and confusions will stay low. I think both of them benefited for this because they just had a really good back and forth match in a WWE style, as you'd expect. I think Tiffany Stratton who should she feud with? I guess Julia, I suppose. Although we need Bianca Belair to come back and win that belt, I think. And yes, Stephanie Vaquer versus an Asuka or someone like that. I know Rhea Ripley's waiting in the wings. I just think it should be a really solid heel. I think that would send her to the moon. But it was just good. And it didn't overstay its welcome. And on a show with 5 matches, even though, my gosh, there's so many breaks with the videos and the adverts, etc., I still thought this stood out for the right reasons because it was planned well. And that's a massive important, proponent of wrestling as well. You have to have good agenting, and this had it too. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors, I absolutely loved. Now, they were in a hard position because they were coming after Cena versus Stars. It didn't matter because Rhea Ripley is so over. But also, we had our secret weapon, which is Asuka and Kairi Sane. The Kabuki Warriors, man, they absolutely kicked the crap out of Kairi Sane. I don't want to be that guy, but it felt way more like a Japanese women's match than it did anything that we get over here. And I just think Asuka is tremendous. Although at one point, Io Sky drop-kicked Asuka right in the face. She didn't even blink. She didn't even even care. Obviously, it was done to build to the hot tag to Rhea Ripley. Was surprised by the finish. I think Kairi Sane's officially indoctrinated. There's no sort of funny business going around here, even though Asuka was yelling at her a lot. Like, she took loads of cheap shots on Io Sky, but at the end, Asuka was about to get blasted, and Kairi Sane took the bullet. She jumped in, she gets hit with a riptide, Io Sky gets the moonsault for the 1-2-3. Before all that, it was very much, the Kabuki Warriors have teamwork because they've been together for so long, whereas Rhea and Io are good single stars. Do I think they should have won? No, to be completely honest. This is not a negative thing. This is a personal thing. Because Asuka and Kairi Sane did just turn heel, I like it when people do that and take victories. We talked about that before. But it was Kairi that took the pin, so your counterpoint to that can be, well, from a story point of view, Asuka can be now like, Kairi, you did it again, like Britney Spears. But because of the love for Rhea Ripley, as she should have in her home country, and because everyone loves Io Sky too, I thought this was awesome as well. This is all going to be about how we carry on the story, because it's been a very story-heavy feud. I think that WWE will have some ideas come Raw, but I just enjoyed the hell out of it. I didn't feel the crowd were tired. I thought the crowd were able to come up again because of Rhea. Rhea Ripley looked great too. I want to underline that as well. I don't want to say she stood beat to beat with them, like I didn't expect that. She's one of the best women WWE has ever had. I think that was the coolest thing about it. They sort of reminded you how high the bar is for female wrestling right now. And it's only going to get better and better. And we talked about Stephanie Vaquer too. And I think it's quite nice. In the Vince McMahon era, they would have lost because, Rhea Ripley's in our hometown, pal. We should have her lose. So I'm never going to get overly frustrated with the baby faces winning a match. Even if I have sort of certain ideas how I'd like the story to go, that's always what wrestling is meant to be. Your heroes win the day and you feel happy and you go to bed with a smile on your face. That worked even more so because, of course, in our main event, it was Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins won. So technically, the pay-per-view ended with a heel getting the victory. I thought this was tremendous too. Really good wrestling at the start. Obviously, Cody is outdoing Seth Rollins every turn. Seth Rollins can't handle that. He loses his temper. He gets a bit mad. Minor criticisms, right? This is me being a super nerd. It didn't make a difference, but they popped into my head. I'll be intrigued to get your thoughts. If you're going to have that Cena Styles match, don't start using each other's finisher. We had Seth Rollins do a crossroads. They're also kicking out a lot at 1-2-oohs. Like there was the crossroads, that Cody hit was an avalanche crossroads and Seth Rollins still kicked out. I do think it's something that needs to be balanced out now. There's no such thing as a finishing move. You have to hit them 47 times, and that takes away from the pop when you do eventually hit them. But again, I'm going down the wrong path here because essentially Seth Rollins lost his mind that he pulled out all the big stops. He did a coast-to-coast headbutt, I suppose, but it was an incredible leap. That man has jelly in his knees. And he did something else that was totally crazy, and I can't remember because I'm tired and just come back at con midnight to make this video. But there was something else he did, which was like, holy crap, man, where is this coming from? And because nothing's working and he can't get the 1-2-3, goes to get the watch that Cody gifted him at WrestleMania 40. Eventually that doesn't work, and the referee obviously gets knocked down, so he uses it again. He smacks Cody right in the face, hits the super stomp, so he went to an avalanche version to get the 1-2-3. So in terms of protecting Cody, we did a lot. Like, we used a weapon that we weren't supposed to use, and he got hit with so many finishes and pedigrees and who knows what else. And then Seth Rollins comes a big promo afterwards as well, saying, I'm the best, screw it all you, I don't care what you think, you're on my back all the time. And he did it by himself. Now, of course, he used a watch here, but WWE's interpretation of that is distraction, interference, and confusion, which is what the vision has been about. Earlier in the night, Paul Heyman had said to the Bronze, you don't go out there no matter what. We need to see what Seth Rollins is made of and if he should be our leader. And Cody is completely protected because it's now 1-3 in favor of him. So even if Seth won another one, he could still be like, I'm better than you. But it was just a really well-worked match. And seeing Seth Rollins fall into the doldrums of frustration because he didn't know what to do to the point he felt obliged to use a weapon and then brag about it, I thought was super good for his character. I'm going to be a geek again. I wouldn't have done that. I'm a visionary. I'm a revolutionary. I would have just kept it a serious death. I also would have had him come out in more serious clothes. I like all the dumb stuff, but given that he'd walked out in the press conference, I just thought there were little things we could have done here to finesse it. But he is the Crown Jewel champion. Made me laugh out loud because the final shot, the camera pulled back and Stephanie Vaquer was just there. That rhymes, it must be true. She teleported in. But I think the joy of this was the way Seth Rollins sold it, which actually helped Cody. Seth sold it like becoming the Crown Jewel champion was absolutely the number one thing that he needed. And without it, he would have been dead and nowhere else to go. And the fact he was able to beat Cody Rhodes at the same time was the icing on the cake. It was just such a good match. It actually reminded me, you two dudes should be the world champion on either brand. I think most of us will always see the WWE title as number one and the WWE World Heavyweight title as 1B. But it was superb. The timing, the execution, the ring psychology, how long they took in a good way. There's one point I think Cody went for either a disaster kick or a Cody cutter, and Seth Rollins turned it into a powerbomb. And I was like, these are excellent pro wrestlers, like they just are, especially in the way that WWE likes to have their main event bouts. Even with everything that come before, I think this really hit a home run. You know, it's not going to win any Match of the Year awards or anything like that because it was more about story. I just thought they told a great tale, and Seth Rollins had to win like he did. So the goal here was, well, how do we protect Cody, but also make sure Seth Rollins feels like a big deal? And we did it because Seth was able to ignore the watch. He's a bad guy, but be like, there's no Braun Breaker, there's no Bronson Reed, there's no Paul Heyman. I did this. I did it, Seth Rollins, and I told you I could do it, and I absolutely went and did it. Which is a great show. Like, it really, really, really was. There's not one match that I thought let the side down. I thought it was well paced. Again, if only we could get rid of all those needless ad breaks. Not needless with TKO, obviously, even though why do I care about what they're sort of earning in that sense. But even with the Stephanie and Tiffany match being a bit shorter, I thought that benefited. If we'd gone right into the next match after that, or even just done one video package, it really would have kept the pace up. But it's impossible to keep the pace up on a WWE show because there's all these sort of things they do throw in there. But yeah, I'd have to sit down and really think about the B shows of the year. But this is probably right up there. I mean, the Elimination Chamber always comes to mind because of the John Cena heel turn. And so many people are saying that as well. Oh, we should have done this with John Cena all year. One of the reasons you are enjoying it so much is because you had the first 6 months taken away from you. I think it's important to remember that. I may do a whole video about it because it'll probably spark the comments, which is always interesting. But I mean, if you need like a worthy meter, it's well worth your time. Every single match. Just skip out the bits in between and you'll have a whale of an old time. And it has a main event that lives up to the billing as well. Even though you've got stupid Crown Jewel championships, which are only there because somebody said, well, it must do them every single year for no apparent reason. Unexpectedly brilliant is what I'll go with. And that's a little bit of exaggeration. We probably won't be talking about it in 6 months' time. But in terms of what I thought it was going to do, and then what it did do, a couple of thumbs. Now, of course, you are going to have opinions about this, so please do drop me a comment below, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Make sure you check out that Clash of the Comics show, if only to laugh at me, and let me know what you thought about it. GorillaMind.com/Simon. Please do check them out if you're into the gym, and use code Simon to get 10% off. It ships worldwide. It's brilliant. Patreon.com/Simon316 for watch-alongs. Otherwise, Simon316 on social media. Simon on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, and then Simon Miller on Big Cartel and Pro Wrestling Tees. And I better end this video because I'm definitely keeping people up with my stupid loud voice. I appreciate you, my friends. Have a terrific week. I'll see you soon.